Blog Talk Radio.
We interrupt this broadcast for an emergency announcement. A massive earthquake. The flood has reached. All roads into and out of are closed. No medical services. Store shelves have been stripped.
What's coming? Are you ready? You are at the right place to hear the best ways to stay safe and weather the coming storm. Welcome to Power Preppers. Here is your host, Patricia Baker.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Power Preppers. It's a great day in New England, beautiful weather out there, and I'm happy to be with you this afternoon. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and my mission is to make getting prepared for any emergency easy and efficient. Get smart and get prepared. So please remember to sign up for our newsletter at supernaturalgirls.com for all the latest show information on Power Preppers and Supernatural Girls Radio. Now, this Saturday, I want to tell you about what we're going to be doing on Saturday night. It is going to be great. We have on Supernatural Girls Radio Edwin Becker, who is the author of True Haunting. And this was the first paranormal story broadcast by NBC back in the 70s. And Ed and his wife, poor people, unknowingly, bought a haunted house and were absolutely tormented by whatever was in there with them and refused to leave. So they took action. They brought in a priest and a famous medium, had an exorcism performed, and guess what? Nothing helped. So be sure to join us Saturday night, 9 to 11 Eastern Time, to hear their incredible story. So today we are talking about vitamins. And these are not just any kind of vitamins. These are leading-edge liposomal vitamins that promise the closest thing to a miracle in a package. So we have Greg Sommers joining us today, and he is from MaxHealth Labs, and he's going to tell us about these vitamins and what they can do. So, Greg, you're live on the air. Welcome to Power Preppers.
Hi, Patricia. It's great to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming on the show. You've got, I know, a ton of terrific information to give to our audience about what you're offering. And I'll just say I came across your product a bit by accident, and I was so impressed with it that I tracked you down and invited you on the show. So tell us about your company, your product. I know you have the only patent in the world on this technology. And, you know, we're all trying to do our best with our health today. Most of us are anyways. And certainly if there is a crisis, you want to start out with good health. You got a better chance of survival. So please tell us about this intracellular liposomal product and how it works and all of this great information.
I'm looking forward to sharing all the details with you. And like I said, thanks for the opportunity. It's great to be with you guys today. You know, we set out with a mission. As we all know, there's things out there that work, and there's things out there that don't work. And, you know, you hope to be on the right side of the fence when it comes to being vigilant about finding the right information and finding what works. And our founder was adamant about finding and offering a solution that could provide a vitamin product that actually works better than anything that had ever been discovered before. And as we all know, absorption and bioavailability, being able to get something into your body is what really matters when it comes to vitamins. And he set out to find a solution that could be accessible to everybody to where they could truly get vitamins into their body at the same rate as getting an IV right into your bloodstream. So
see, that's groundbreaking. That's absolutely groundbreaking. And again, I can tell you there are so many people I know that are tired of taking pills. You can take handfuls of these things, and the question is always, how much of this am I actually absorbing?
Bioavailability, you know, and absorption is what even critics of the vitamin industry, they agree that there's a huge amount of benefits, but the one criticism is that, you know, how much do you get into your bloodstream? But not only into your bloodstream, but the important part is getting it into your actual cells. that is what true absorption and bioavailability is. And we call our products intracellular vitamins because, and Patricia, as you know, every source of disease starts inside your cells, literally inside the smallest molecule in our body. So, intracellular vitamins literally work at the cellular level, and that's the whole premise of the science, hence why we call them intracellular vitamins. But our founder, he worked on this for decades, and it utilizes, as you mentioned, liposomal technology, where we take hard to absorb and even impossible to absorb nutrients, and we put them in microscopic. They're actually healthy fat molecules. It's a patented technology, and each packet of our liquid gel vitamins that you take has millions of these microscopic sealed perfect bubbles that seal the nutrient inside, and they literally slip into your bloodstream as just like you're getting an IV. And we actually just completed clinical trials on our vitamins that prove this, and that's what really has taken us to a completely different level. We had a lot of data, but we just completed product-specific data showing that we can take our product and achieve bioavailability even better than IV in certain instances. So, yeah, it's like you said, it truly is groundbreaking and pioneering, so we're very excited about that.
Well, I can see why you would be. And again, these pills they call it the Moroccan syndrome, where you have to take so many pills and you feel like you're a maraca just walking around with all these pills making noise inside of you. So, for people who are really dedicated to a health regimen, you're talking about a huge amount of pills. Some people I hear are taking up to 40, 50 pills a day. That's an enormous amount of pills. And if you can get better results with what you have, and I have to say, I have taken your intracellular vitamin D, as I mentioned, and it actually tastes good. And it's something that you just put in your mouth that it's gone and it's back, it's into your system, I should say, not gone, but it's something that's not hanging around. It's already doing its job. It's immediate. And I felt a big change immediately when I switched over to your intracellular vitamin D. So there's the benefits are endless. And then you mentioned how it compares to IV nutrition, which I've also had that done years ago. And I just have to mention this because it's important. I had some vitamin C IV, and it was not pleasant. And I'll tell you why. Because you can always count on the nurse to do the best job you possibly can, but veins are not made to be punctured. And sometimes they don't hit it just exactly right. And I remember sitting there during a session of this and watching my arm blow up like a balloon because it had not been administered correctly. So not only that, but you're sitting there for an hour or so. You have to drive to the doctor's office. It just becomes a headache in and of itself. And if you can get the same results, or even as you just mentioned, better, by taking this little package, it's just so much more palatable. It's easier, and I don't think you can beat this, quite honestly.
Oh, I greatly appreciate it, and hearing positive user experiences is really what we love to hear. I mean, we get testimonials some days that are just mind-boggling, and it actually makes us appreciate why we're truly in the industry. It was really interesting. Right before we got on the show, we had somebody call in, and this is their exact quote. They said, "My son-in-law has Lou Gehrig's disease. He's bedridden, and he's being fed through a tube. I read about your intracellular glutathione in a Life Extension article, and I recommended it to his parents. And since he has started, he's taking your product. He's now actually able to eat without the feeding tube. He's more alert. His memory is significantly improved. He's starting to become mobile. We're so thankful for the results and feel blessed that we found your product." So, hearing those things is what really matters. I mean, obviously we're all in business to make a living and such, but we didn't want to jump on this bandwagon and just come out with some product that was another hyped up, want-to-be solution that didn't truly make a difference out there. So we're really excited to hear that it's making, huge impact on people's lives too. And, that's what really matters, and that's the truth. And that's why even our founder, he wanted to come out with a way to, have a successful business and make money like we all need to, but he cared more about pioneering an industry and truly finding a product and technology that could deliver results, with pretty much no limitations. So we're really excited to hear about, people's specific experience. And I want to mention, too, just so, your listeners understand, our products come in tiny, they actually come in small packets and they're a naturally flavored liquid gel. So, for example, in the morning, you could take our vitamin D or glutathione or vitamin C, as you said, Patricia, on an empty stomach, and it actually is a very pleasant experience. It's a natural fatty acid. So.
Yeah, I mean, it really honestly tastes good. Now, you are not the only company with liposomal technology, but I have to say you're the best tasting. And, again, you're the only one that has the clinical results. So, and, again, I can tell you this. I was starting to get a cold, which I cannot afford to get sick. I'm too darn busy. But, anyway, besides the misery of it all.
I know what you mean there.
You know, and I go to the grocery store, and everybody's coughing, and I'm like, get away from me. I don't want to get sick. But, of course, so much of this is airborne. Well, I didn't feel so great. I came home, and I started taking a couple packages here of your vitamin D. I felt instantly better. And this cold, which would normally have progressed by now, has not. So I know for a fact that it's made a difference because I know how I am when I get sick, and I have seen already there's a great benefit with taking your product. But here's the question I have for you. Walk us through your clinical results. So you must have done blood work, lab work, on people who took your vitamin D. And what did you see in the clinical results?
Okay. I have plenty of data for you on this. So we'll start with vitamin D since we're on that subject. But as you know, and it's in the media right now, and it's a lot of information is coming back to prove that vitamin D deficiency is actually an epidemic right now. They're tying vitamin D deficiency to cancer, autoimmune diseases, all types of different illnesses, chronic fatigue. I mean, literally, they did, all these years, vitamin D of all things, they're tying low vitamin D levels, chronic vitamin D deficiency, to a whole variety of chronic illness. So here's the issue. Even though it's a fat-soluble nutrient, there's some people that just cannot get their vitamin D level up no matter how much they supplement. And, regardless of how healthy their diet is. Even healthy, active, wellness enthusiasts, some people just cannot sustain high vitamin D levels, and they're still researching why this is the case. And, there's bioavailability and absorption limitations in some people, even though it's fat-soluble. So, we developed our intracellular vitamin D, and we did head-to-head comparisons of several different oral brands, regarding tablet and capsule vitamin D products. And all of the results showed in all of the testing that we did, and we achieved sometimes 4 to 5 times the rise in vitamin D level. And they did a 30-day study with a wide variety of patients. And not only did they achieve 4 to 5 times higher levels in less than half the time, but their vitamin D levels were maintaining sustainable levels even when they dropped their doses. And these were all chronically deficient patients too. So yeah, I mean, and I'd love to share some more specific information too, and I'll even get some to you. But it's really exciting. They did, when you look at the charts and the bioavailability curve charts to see, the absorption levels. I mean, it was truly groundbreaking. The gentleman who heads this research group that did this study is a world-renowned doctor, and he said he'd just never seen anything like this before, because you got to remember, these were patients that were chronically deficient, that couldn't get their levels up. So, and it totally changed our whole perception on this is the world's first liposomal vitamin D. There are other liposomal products out there, but nothing with patents like you had mentioned, but nobody had ever done a vitamin D before. So we were really, really interested to see the results, but it's remarkable for people that aren't able to get their levels up. So there's some great things.
And it's remarkable for everybody who, again, wants to have an immediate result, who wants to have this go right into their cells, because that's always the question, is absorption. And here's something that it's immediate. Goes right where it's needed.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned that it's really interesting. They recently conducted some research, and they showed that a single 10,000 IU dose of vitamin D that gets absorbed can stop the progression of a virus forming in your body, like you said, when you feel like you're getting cold. People don't always tie vitamin D into immunity like they do a vitamin C. But
right, that's right.
A little bit more information, and I want to talk about glutathione a little bit. Glutathione in itself has no absorption at all orally. You cannot absorb glutathione orally with capsule pill form. There's never been any documented cases of people able to absorb glutathione, and this is where our blood studies and our clinical trials really changed our entire company, because we had people that quadrupled their glutathione level, their plasma blood levels within an hour on a single 4-gram dose of glutathione. So
now tell people what glutathione does, because a lot of people have not heard even that word before. So tell us a little bit about why this thing is important.
You beat me to it. It's glutathione. I actually have some information that came from a gentleman. His name's Dr. Mark Hyman. He's one of the world's leading researchers on glutathione. And this is just some information that he just released. But he refers to glutathione as the hands-down most important molecule and substance that we all need to stay healthy and prevent disease. Yet up to 9 out of 10 people have never even heard of glutathione. He says it's secret. Yes. It's the secret to preventing aging, cancer, heart disease, dementia, and more, and necessary to treat everything from autism to Alzheimer's disease. There are more than 90,000 medical articles about it, but yet many of our doctors don't even know how to address the epidemic deficiency of this critical life-giving molecule. And that's just a segment from this huge, huge piece of research that he just released. And the interesting part about this is our bodies actually produce glutathione. Glutathione is present in all of our cell walls. It's basically our cell's natural defense mechanism. But the bad news is that poor diet and environmental factors, pollution, toxins, even the medications that we take, stress, trauma, aging, infections, and radiation, they all significantly deplete our intracellular glutathione level. So every year we age, every time we get sick, every time we take certain medications, every time we get, environmental, toxins in our body, it literally is just draining those cellular levels of glutathione. So this glutathione is literally changing the landscape right now of potential to prevent illness. But
exciting. That is so exciting. My goodness. But let me ask you, here's somebody just wrote in a question to me, an email, and they said, so is it not possible to get glutathione in your diet? So in your food, would you be able to get it?
There's definitely foods that contain glutathione, like the leafy greens and the nutrient-dense foods like that. But here's the problem, and this is, Patricia, I'll send you some of this research and data to review too. Here's the problem. You can absolutely get glutathione in your diet, but the problem is that all those things that I mentioned in terms of the pollution and toxins, the medications, even daily stress, that actually depletes your glutathione levels faster than you're able to raise your glutathione levels with diet. I mean, you literally have to sit there all day long and, eating pounds and pounds of the most nutrient-dense food, and this is based on fact. So it's just, unfortunately, right now we're being exposed to more environmental toxins, and through our food, through the environment, as we all know, it's depleting glutathione levels faster than we can retain glutathione levels. And you guys, you know about even the soil differences, the nutrient contents of our food. We're living in a time right now where you just can't get the same quality of food and like you used to be able to.
Well,
even
you
if you
really
shop
can't, Greg. It's scary because I know I'll sit down and eat a meal and I eat organically and all of that, but at the end of it I'm thinking, gee, what did I really get from that? I mean, it's a question I have because everything is, as you mentioned, so depleted. The areas that we live in are very polluted. Whether we see the pollution or not, it's there. And so what we try to do, again, is supplement our diet with these types of nutritional supplements. So then that becomes a very critical issue because the food does not contain what it used to in a good way. It contains other things, the bad things. So our bodies are constantly under assault from our diet, even if it is a diet that you try to keep pure. And so it's, again, these types of vitamin supplements, I think, become critical in our daily lives. We have to have things like this at our disposal so we can stay as healthy as possible.
Well, Patricia, I totally agree with you. And the other thing, too, like I said, we operate differently than a lot of other companies. And I would be completely honest, like the question that your one listener just asked, because there are some nutrients that, have been proven to be able to maintain through a healthy diet. There are certain things, but glutathione is one of those that they've found that there's such chronic issues with illness, and look at the statistic from even a decade ago, even with what you and I talked about, Patricia, and the autoimmune, diabetes, heart disease, the cancer. Why are we experiencing, 100 times the rate of chronic illness versus, 10 or 20 years ago? It's interesting they asked that about diet, because even foods, like I shop at Whole Foods and all organic markets, it's just we can't get the same nutrient-dense food that we could used to get back, years ago. So it's an interesting perspective.
It's very interesting. And here's another question someone just wrote in. They said, how much glutathione do you require? So what would be a daily requirement for that, or what is recommended? Do you know?
Well, for a maintenance dose of 500 milligrams, 450 to 500 milligrams is what the leading researchers have showed to be an optimal maintenance dose. Now that can obviously totally vary if you're ill, but as a maintenance dose, 500 milligrams of truly bioavailable glutathione is what is an optimal daily maintenance dose. But that's definitely the ideal dosage. But like I said, there is other glutathione products out there, oral glutathione, but it's been proven that you cannot get any absorption unless you get an IV or a liposomal glutathione. So that's what you need to do to get it into your bloodstream. I want to tell you something, too, that is really interesting. We obviously, we go to some of the leading integrative and alternative medical trade shows. And, certain, how, Patricia, you know your body very well. Like you said, like when you took that vitamin D, you know your body very well. You can feel when things are happening inside your body, and when you're about to...
Yeah, you can feel a response or a lack of one, yes.
We'll have doctors come up, and none of them ever believe hype until there's proof and trials and such like that. But if you take a dose of our glutathione, you can actually feel an immediate surge of mental clarity and well-being. It gets into your bloodstream so fast and it's so powerful that and we have hundreds of testimonials we get, especially with chronic fatigue. You can actually feel the glutathione working within minutes, which a lot of these doctors will say they've never seen anything where you can actually feel a physical response to using it. So it's a very, very powerful substance, and when you get it into your body, and you can literally feel it taking immediate effect. There's one thing I wanted to mention too. We got sidetracked before, but this Dr. Hyman that I told you about. There's one other thing I wanted to mention. He said, this is a quote of his, in treating chronically ill patients with functional medicine for more than 10 years, I discovered that glutathione deficiency is found in all ill patients, including people with chronic fatigue syndrome, heart disease, cancer, chronic infections, autoimmune disease, diabetes, autism, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, arthritis, asthma, kidney problems, liver disease, and more. So basically, he's become famous because, he basically found that, wait a second, every sick person has lower levels of glutathione. So it was really groundbreaking when he came out with this because,
well, it's a common denominator, and that's what you're always looking for with these illnesses, is what's the common denominator, and is there one that is treatable? And it sounds like he found it with glutathione.
Yeah, it's definitely a special substance. There's actually videos on we put one of his videos on our website that, there's Parkinson's patients that literally can't even stand up. They're just sitting there slouched over. He'll give them an infusion of glutathione, and he'll literally, this has been proven before too, he'll literally show on the video, within 15 minutes these people get a high-dose IV infusion of glutathione. They're walking down the hall with mobility and their motor skills immediately restored. It's amazing. I'll share the link with you on these videos. But
yeah, please do, and I'll share that with our listening audience so they can see this also, because again, this is very, very powerful information you're sharing, because not only will it keep us healthy on a day-to-day basis, but if there is a crisis, then we will have our pantries with these items in it, and we'll be ready to go. Because as you and I discussed yesterday, if something happens, the grid goes down, or God forbid there's a flood, or there's this or there's that, and you cannot go get an IV, then you have this. So, and in fact, what you're saying is you get better results with this than an IV. So the point is, when there are no medical services available and you can't get that kind of treatment, this is something you should have on hand. So it's a great product. I love it. I can't wait to try your glutathione. I think it sounds like I need that. I need that mental clarity. So and more.
Well, I greatly appreciate it, and I like I said, when our founder got involved in this, he wasn't going to get into this industry until he found something that was proven and that could actually make a difference and work. And that was just the bottom line. And again, now that we're getting all this data and research in it, it's really changing everything. And one of the other things I mentioned, based on the premise of the show too, and I'm going to send you a bunch of research on this, but we work with one of the leading IV therapy doctors overseas in Japan, and as we all know, there was that horrible radiation problem with those.
Oh,
those
my goodness! Yes.
That went down.
Yes.
Well,
terrible.
They actually give people glutathione that are exposed to radiation because it has basically it protects your cells from the oxidative stress involved in radiation exposure and poisoning. And there's thousands of proving articles that back up this up too. So it's really interesting. Just another interesting benefit of it. But like I said, it literally is what everything starts at the cellular level. Glutathione is in all of our cells right now, protecting our cells right now. So it's just amazing how much potential there is, and I think that if it's allowed, that glutathione is going to end up changing the potential of solutions out there forever. So
well, and we need that because, as you mentioned, the person with Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. I mean, it's a horrible disease. There's no real treatment for it. There's certainly not a cure in traditional medicine. And you just watch these people slowly slip away, and it's a horrible way to meet your demise, in my opinion. But here you have something that's actually giving them a better quality of life. So it's more than just restoring health to people that just have a few minor things going on. I mean, ALS is a major deal. So treating it effectively with this to give somebody back their quality of life, I mean, there's no dollar amount you can put on something like that. That's just an incredible thing. And I'm going to take a break here for just a few short minutes. And when we come back, I want to talk to you more about the cell, how the cell works, and then the effect that your products have. And people need to know your website, which is MaxHealthLabs.com. So if you want to look at Greg's products here, go to MaxHealthLabs.com. And stay tuned, everybody. And if you have a question for Greg, then feel free to call in at 646-478-0828. That's 646-478-0828. Or you can send me a message in the chat room that you have a question and you would like it answered, and we will ask on your behalf. So stay tuned.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Sometimes life can be a challenge. Would you like insight and guidance to help you make the best choices right now? Contact Helene at angelslighthouse.com to make your personal appointment for a psychic reading or energy alignment. Helene is a direct channel to the angelic realm and is remarkably capable of connecting to the living as well as to your loved ones on the other side. Helene is available to clients all over the world via phone or Skype, and it's simple to set up a group reading anywhere. Visit angelslighthouse.com, where you'll find an easy way to schedule right online. And while you're there, sign up for the Angels Lighthouse newsletter and receive information on all the free energy circles, giveaways, and jewelry with a message. Visit angelslighthouse.com and contact Helene today.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With cosmic fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.KOSMICfusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I am speaking today with Greg Sommers, and he is from MaxHealth Labs. And this is a very exciting show because we're hearing all kinds of new potential here for our health and wellness, and it's a very easy solution. So, Greg, right before the break, I was mentioning about the cell and how the cell works, and I just wanted to share with you, I've done an interview in the past with Dr. Garth Nicholson, who is a world-renowned microbiologist, and he was the man who broke the cover on Gulf War syndrome and where it came from, that it is an infection. And meanwhile, these guys are being told, and these ladies that were coming back from the Gulf War, that it was all in their heads. And I know they're trying to get chronic fatigue and also another illness similar to chronic fatigue reclassified as mental depressive illness types of things. So it's very frustrating for patients. But Dr. Nicholson was the one who identified that mycoplasma infections were taking a bite out of the cell wall. And when they did that, they would then hide inside the cell, and basically the cell would just be self-destructive. It would just destroy itself. And it would set off an entire autoimmune cascade of horrible symptoms. So having something like your product, how does that help the situation? Because it sounds like it is helping people with very severe illnesses. So does it rebuild the cell? What is it doing?
Here's the really, really brilliant element of liposomal delivery and how this whole concept works. And I wanted to let everybody know, too, on our website, on the homepage, there's a medical animation that actually shows how this process works inside the body. So, and I'm obviously going to cover as much as I can, but it's really helpful to see how this works inside the body. But here's what's really, really interesting. We actually make these microscopic liposomes that carry the therapeutic nutrient inside the body into the cells. We made them out of what's called phosphatidylcholine, PC. And PC is the primary phospholipid in all of the cell membranes in our body. So basically, these liposomes are made out of almost the identical material that our cell membranes are made out of. And it's the PC is a source of choline and a major component of liver cell membranes. And it's been shown in studies to protect liver cells from damage from a variety of toxins in the environment. And it provides significant protection for our cell membranes. So essentially, when the liposomes go into the bloodstream, and this is what the animation shows, they actually merge with the outer membrane of your cell wall and become a part of your cell wall, kind of like reinforcement, like armor for your cells. It's pretty amazing how it works. That's why, we call them intracellular vitamins, because the liposomes are almost like cells delivering material to other cells. But not only do they deliver it within your cells, it literally reinforces the physical membrane of the cells inside your body, so invading pathogens aren't able to penetrate. I mean, it's not only the mechanism of increasing absorption and bioavailability. These microscopic liposomes are giving your cells additional protection in addition to delivering the nutrient inside your body.
That's brilliant. I mean, this is exactly what people who have autoimmune disease need, because their cell walls are breaking down. And again, this is what I hear is the most important aspect of the cell is not the nucleus, it's the cell wall itself. So if you have this glutathione in your system from MaxHealth Labs and you're able to reinforce your cell wall, it sounds like it also has the potential to rebuild a broken cell wall, which is, again, what people with ALS or lupus or MS really need. So we've got a caller on the line, Greg. Let me take a break from our conversation for a second, and we're going to bring Simon on the air. Simon, you're live on the air with Power Preppers. Do you have a question for Greg?
Yeah, I had a question for Greg. Two questions, actually. One thing was I wanted to know about how his HGH precursors worked compared to Samorlin and compared to GHRP2 as far as for increasing the amount of growth hormone in the bloodstream.
Our precursor product is still in clinical trial right now. We're still awaiting the results. I'm assuming that you saw that on our coming soon page, but we don't release the product until we have hard clinical data and evidence. But if you can get your information to Patricia, we'd be glad to provide you with the hard clinical evidence and data as soon as we have it available for that product. But we don't currently have that in the market yet. But we're currently working on that product.
Have you had any results yet? See how encouraging that would be?
No, I don't have much information from it. We have a whole team of researchers, and unless I have it all for you, I can't really give it in bits and pieces. But I appreciate that. Oh yeah, of course. I didn't want to beat around the bush, but as soon as we're real excited about its potential, because we can take essentially the most impossible to absorb oral nutrients, literally with no bioavailability whatsoever. We're achieving a bioavailability, the highest that they've ever seen orally. So that's why, as you know, the HGH precursors, they get broken down in the digestive tract. So we're really excited to see where it goes.
Okay, that'll be great. Because you should be able to take a lot less of a quantity if you get 100% absorption, I would hope. And one more thing I was going to ask you is, since these things aren't absorbed in the digestive tract, are they absorbed in the mouth or are they absorbed in the intestines? Where are they absorbed?
It's really interesting how it works. There's actual multiple pathways of the enhancement of bioavailability and absorption when you're using an oral liposomal gel preparation. The first one is the mucosal tissue and the esophageal tissue, and then it actually slips through the gut into the subclavian vein into the bloodstream. But the liposomes, there's millions of them in each dose. As you put it in your mouth, they go right into the mucosal tissue, in through the esophageal walls, and they actually create a depot effect per se. So there's three pathways that actually enhance absorption and bioavailability. Your body won't digest liposomes because it recognizes them itself.
Okay. So what is the best way to take them? Is it best to keep them under the tongue or in the mouth, or is it best just to swallow?
Well, no, you can swallow. Like some people, you tear open a packet. Some people have preference.
Right.
The ideal thing, though, is you do want to take them on an empty stomach before a meal, though, because They have the research seen that, they want to get it right into your tissues. So it really becomes preference, but it does not diminish the effects at all. It just it becomes preference. Some people like to squirt. It won't dissolve. Liposomes don't dissolve in water. So like if you were to squirt the glutathione in a glass of water and stir it up, it won't mix and dilute into the water. So you can, glutathione is a sulfur. It's called a sulfur-based amino acid peptide. So it does have a little bit of a mild sulfur scent to it. It's not bad at all, but it's just that's the molecule property in itself. But some people prefer to put it in a glass of water and drink it, and some people don't mind to just take it, right from the packet into their mouth. So, but it does not diminish its effects at all. It becomes preference.
Yeah, I have tried another glutathione liposome, and the taste was very strong, but that's to be expected, I guess.
Strong as in, did it taste very, I guess, unattractive? I mean, was it?
Yeah, it was one of your competitors, so it doesn't reflect on you, but it did have like a sour, spoiled taste, actually, is what it was.
That sounds awful.
But it wasn't, it wasn't your product.
There's been a couple that there's been a couple of other companies out there that we've heard that they've had a lot of issues with keeping it stable, and the stuff separates, and I hear it tastes like horrible rotten eggs and stuff like that. I mean, that's coming from actual testimony from, I wouldn't use those words, and nor would I name names, but I've heard that it's almost like a rotten, like a spoiled type of just horrible taste. So ours,
that's the one. That's the one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got that one, and it is separated, like you say too. It isn't consistent through the packet.
Yeah, the one that you tried, did it almost look like a brown oil type, almost like an oily?
Yes.
Like a brown. See, that's another thing that we didn't even cover. The phosphatidylcholine that we use to make our liposomes, it's the highest purity phosphatidylcholine that you can get in the world. It's literally the most pure PC. So when you see our product, it's not, these other companies are using this crude brown oil-based lecithin, and we use the purest PC. When you see our glutathione, it's a very consistent, material that has, if you saw ours, it's a totally different type of product. And we put a little bit of natural orange extract and a very, very small amount of stevia, so it actually, we never get negative feedback. It has a pretty pleasant taste. A lot of the doctors say that it's hands down the best tasting glutathione they've ever come across. But the biggest, most important part, though, is that the PC that you use to make the liposomal formulas, that is what matters. That's, a lot of these companies are, they use literally, it's a brown, oily-based, very low-quality, cheap soy lecithin, and the liposomes don't stay stable. So, it's a very different experience. And I wanted to mention, too, it's a good time to mention with you on the phone, and Patricia, we gladly provide, free samples to try, too. So there's a section on our website, if any of you would like to try it, we'd be glad to send you a sample to try. But it'll be a very different experience from any glutathione that you've ever seen before, I can promise you that.
Well, that's great, because it'll be a lot more pleasant experience. When do you think you'll have the HGH precursor on the market?
Definitely sometime in 2014. I mean, we have several other products in the queue right now. We're coming out with the world's first fully solubilized liposomal curcumin. We're also doing a full spectrum omega fatty acid liposomal. We have a CoQ10 coming out. We have several other products in the queue, but trust me, that is going to be a wonderful product. I wish I knew. I promise you, if you get your info to Patricia, you'll be one of our first calls. But we're pushing as hard as we can.
Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll make sure I get to Patricia's website and get in contact. The other thing, since you've got a precursor for HGH, which is super important, and I'd like to eliminate taking all this Samoralin and the growth hormone-releasing peptides, that would be good, and yours should be a lot more efficient. Are you going to have anything for increasing testosterone levels?
We we actually have a gentleman who approached us about a year ago about utilizing our technology for that. Because if you can achieve hormonal delivery, because we're actually looking into whether we want to do a topical or oral, because liposomals that are stable, they can be real effective as a topical or an oral. We're definitely pursuing the hormonal-based delivery element of it, but there's a little more complexity to it than our nutraceutical line. So, there's so many possibilities for the technology, being that it's the only patented, stable liposomal manufacturing method in the world. We're definitely pursuing those pathways, but it's taken a little bit more time to get into that arena because it's a lot more complex. But we're absolutely pursuing multiple avenues for sure.
Yeah, and it also sounds like you're protected. You're the only one who can use your technology, correct?
That is correct. All liposomals out there actually are produced with what's called high pressure homogenization, where they essentially take that crude, low quality lecithin that I told you about. Like, you've seen it before. It's almost like an oily base. They essentially mix all this stuff together and they blast it. Sometimes they even have to use solvents. It's not an efficient process. They blast this material through, a super, super hot reservoir at like 30 to 40,000 psi. It's a super high heat and super high pressure method to make liposomes. And the problem is that super high heat and pressure, liposomes are very fragile. They're again, think of it as a cell holding a microscopic nutrient. They don't stay stable as long. We have the only manufacturing technology in the world for liposomes that does not use any solvents, no high pressure, no high heat at all. So the importance here is that liposomes are only as good as they stay stable. If you have a bunch of liposomes that are destabilizing and rupturing, they're not going to have that cellular delivery. They're not going to be able to perform how they're supposed to. Like, how some of them we've heard other products where it's kind of like a watery mess because the stuff destabilizes and it's not staying encapsulated inside these microscopic liposomes. It has to stay stable or else it's not worth, it's not even worth using. So that's what really differentiates our ability to make stable liposomal products, because we, again, it's not using any of those volatile solvents, no pressure, no heat. So that's where we've really been able to differentiate and create stability and effective liposomes.
Well, it does sound great. It sounds like it's a real liposome, where the other ones are kind of pseudo-liposomes. If they're not stable, they're no longer really a liposome.
Plus, they sound like they taste pretty bad. So, and that's very dissuasive. When you've got to take something that tastes that terrible, who wants to take it?
Well, there's a couple out there there's a couple that are unbearable. Simon he was right. There's been a couple that we, again, I don't ever name names, but there's a couple that I literally are unbearable. It's almost like it's a horrible chemical taste. So, and again, there's the lecithin. You don't want to use low-grade lecithin. It's not even a benefit. So, but that's a whole other subject. It's just, and you have to have proof too. You ask them, how do you know your products work? How do you know they raise blood levels? The proof is always in the data that you can get and say, okay, here's a published study that we, that's why we set out to not, even like with the precursor project, we're not going to release that until we can show our end users that it, without any doubt, that it works, it stays stable, and it does what it's supposed to do.
Which is excellent, because I know with so many vitamin products and competitors, the market is so saturated, and it's hard for consumers sometimes to separate things out and know which companies they can trust and what products they should be investing in. And this is an investment. I mean, your product is priced affordably, but when you start adding up costs for so many different health products, organic foods, you get a high price tag at the end of the day. So you want to make every dollar count, and certainly it does with MaxHealth Labs. So go to MaxHealthLabs.com for all of you folks that are listening today. Take a look at these products and also sign up for a free sample and give it a try.
Patricia,
Simon,
we also this is
Simon, thank you so much for your call. I just wanted to say those are great questions, and thank you. We'll continue on speaking with Greg.
Thanks, Simon.
Yeah. And thank you for having a great guest.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I think I've got
Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Okay. I was saying I appreciate it. I think you've answered all the questions I had for today, and I'll be really looking forward to see that HGH product. And just to let you know, I did have my blood tested before and after taking Samoralin and GHRP, and it was about a 19% increase. So if we can beat that, I'll really be looking forward to your product.
I can't wait to send you the info.
Terrific. Okay. Well, I wanted to get back again to the very important issue of disease. And as you mentioned before, I want to get back to the person with ALS. They were able to actually have a reversal of symptoms that gave a better quality of life. And I would think people who have diseases like Crohn's, other digestive disorders would also be able to take your product without fear of it upsetting their stomach and causing further problems. And they also should be able to see an improvement.
You're absolutely right. Like I said, it does not cause any gastric upset whatsoever. And the other one thing we didn't even get to cover yet, Patricia, is, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners are aware, and it's one of the most proven therapies ever, is high dose vitamin C therapy.
Yeah.
In the time of flu season, cold season, if you were to take 8 or 10 pills of vitamin C, unfortunately, there's very undesirable side effects when it comes to diarrhea and gastric distress.
Oh, yeah. In fact, they tell you to find your dose, you've got to bring yourself right to the edge of that. So it's, again, and for people that already have digestive issues, like IBS or Crohn's disease, then they certainly don't want to take a risk of, again, running back into the same symptomology. So your intracellular packaging here, your liquid gel, Smart Packs, this, again, makes more sense because it doesn't even have to go all the way down into your stomach with 10 vitamin C pills. It just is, you can absorb it right from your mouth, which is perfect.
You can actually take, if you, this especially in cold flu season coming up here, you can take a very high dose of our liposomal vitamin C, for example, and you won't have any of the normal experience with taking high-dose vitamin C. Even if you notice when you take high-dose vitamin C, your urine changes color because you're flushing it. You don't even get a change in the color of your urine or any gastric distress at all when taking several grams of our vitamin C. I do want to, that leads me into, and I just want to make sure everybody knows because, we're not greedy at all, but our products do cost a little more than just, an average pill form, vitamin D, C, glutathione like we talked about. But, remember that, every dose is providing 1,000 milligrams of the phosphatidylcholine and the active ingredient, and it's absorbing at 100%. So, I just like to mention that to people because, our vitamin C and D and our products do cost more than, I know there's a lot of options out there. But, again, we prove that it works. And, that goes a long way. I like to let people know, obviously we've talked a lot about why we are very, very different than anybody else out there, but, I just like to remind everybody it's a 2-in-1 product. Patricia, I don't know how familiar you are with phosphatidylcholine, but, even as a standalone supplement, it's been used for many, many years for a wide variety of health benefits in itself. And every dose of intracellular vitamins gives you a high dose of phosphatidylcholine of its purest form in the world, and, whatever active nutrient it is, whether it's a vitamin C, resveratrol, vitamin D. So you're getting the benefits of both in every dose when you use it.
Well, again, this is why I like your product so very much. I mean, you're giving everybody exactly what they need. It's absorbable, it's easy to use, it tastes good. If it's a little more money, so what? It's well worth it. And the other thing I like about this is it's very lightweight, it's easy to store. I mean, if I take any of these packages here out of the box, they're just a slim package. If I have a bug-out bag, which I do, I take some of these and I put them right in it. And a few weeks ago, we did have Darren Craddock on the show from EnterHealth, and he shared his sad story of getting caught in the floods in Colorado. And he said, I never thought it would happen to me. And he has a company that actually has prepper products, very healthy ones. But he said, I was prevented from returning home. I didn't have a change of clothing. I didn't have food. I had nothing. So he said, now I'm getting my own bug-out bag together just to keep in my car just in case, because you don't ever know what's going to happen. And your vitamin packages here, again, they're slim, they're lightweight. you can put them in there easily, and they store very well. It looks like the storage goes for, what, a year and a half on these? They're good for, shelf life is about a year and a half?
Yeah, and then the nice thing, too, is, we have to, they stay good for, we did, of course, very in-depth stability testing and such. They last a very long time, but we have to put an expiration date on them. But, the products will store very well. But the packets are specially sealed just to keep out all light, all air, so you're never opening or closing a bottle and exposing, air or anything to the material. So, like Patricia, you're saying they're all individually sealed, so that's part of why it keeps it so stable and fresh. And, we did that for a reason, because we did not, because you can't, glutathione is very volatile. Some of these companies have it in the bottle. You can't open and reclose it, or else it oxidizes. So yes, they store very well, and they will last for a very long time.
Now, tell me, Greg, what products do you actually have available today? Now, we know that you have the vitamin D. What else do you have available that people can purchase from your website?
Well, we have an intracellular vitamin B12. And we have a resveratrol, which is that's actually the world's first fully solubilized bioavailable resveratrol supplement. Our vitamin C, glutathione, and vitamin D. So we currently have 5 products, and we're working on releasing the first solubilized curcumin, CoQ10, and a full-spectrum omega fatty acid supplement. So we have 5 now available, and we have 3 that will probably be out within the next 90 days or so.
And what about a multivitamin? Are you also working on that?
That's our most prized project right now, and we are working on that. And how could I forget the most important one? Thanks for reminding me, Patricia.
Oh, no problem. Because, again, that is the foundation. You want to be able to take that, and it would be great. I can't wait till you get that one out, because I am so tired of taking those pills, I can't even tell you.
Yeah, we're very excited. It'll be the world's first liposomal multivitamin. That's actually at the front of the line right now in terms of what we want to release. The thing is, though, it takes time, because we have to encapsulate multiple nutrients in the liposome. So, but it's definitely, we do know that it's working, and right now we're just working on our stability testing and such. But I'll definitely keep you posted on that. But it's not going to be too much longer before we have the first liposomal multivitamin that's ever been offered.
That's phenomenal. I really can't wait. And then also, if you can give people an example of your pricing, because I have your vitamin D box in front of me. There's 30 packets here, so it's about basically a month's supply. And how much would this cost?
Well, we put some for the show today. This is probably a good time to share this with you, but for your audience, we actually put together a specific promotion, a discount code. It's lowercase power prep, POWERPREP. That'll give them a 10% discount on our website.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Yeah, we're glad to. That they can use that anytime. Like I said, we offer free samples too, and not many companies do that, because we send out thousands of them. But we found that once you use it and actually see how different it is, like you did, Patricia, that's what really changes everybody's perspective. Because like when you first got the vitamin D, you can't really appreciate it until you say, oh, look how this works, look how this tastes, and you feel better off of it. So
immediately.
we do offer.
Immediately. That was the thing that caught my attention, and I was like, wow, this thing really works. I'm really feeling better immediately. So, again, you can't beat this product. It's phenomenal. So tell the audience again, they can get 10% off their order. They just need to put Power Prep in lowercase on the order form?
Yeah, on the shopping cart on the website, there's a discount code section, and that will give them 10% off their entire order on our website. And like I said, what we'll do too is every time we see that code used, obviously we'll know it's from your listeners, and we appreciate it. If somebody wants to order, we'll gladly offer them the discount. And if say they try our vitamin D, we'll provide you samples of all of our other products for free to try as well. So the 10%, and there'll be free samples of every other product on there for you too. Because
that's a great generous offer. That is.
Yeah, we here's the thing. again, we truly are sincere people that wanted to get into the supplement industry, and we're not greedy at all. And, our products, like I said, our vitamin, for example, the vitamin C it's $39.99 for a month's supply. But again, you can get cheap vitamin C tablets out there, but it's a ours, like we've covered for the past hour. It's a 2-in-1 product, and it's a totally different type of science that is working and working at a completely different level than anything else out there. So
well, that's it, because I can tell you, I don't even want to tell you how much money I have spent on supplements. It's more than I even care to know. And it's very frustrating when you buy these products and they do not work. So you're getting a minimal benefit. You're putting all kinds of dollars in their pocket, but you're walking around not feeling that much better. So having a product like yours from MaxHealth Labs, it's going to work. You're going to get results. And if you just have minor health problems and you're taking this, I would think you're going to feel really good. And if you have a serious health problem, then you should be getting your quality of life back with taking these products. So there's all kinds of gain with this, and so it costs a little more money. I don't even think it costs more money than some of the other things that I've tried. So it's well worth it. Well worth it. So everybody go to MaxHealthLabs.com and place your order and get your 10% discount, and then you'll get all the samples of all your other products. It's well worth it. Well worth it. And Greg, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy day, because I know you guys are just out straight with all these things and trials and these new products you're launching. But again, I can't thank you enough for coming on the Power Preppers show and sharing all of this great information with us so we can continue to stay healthy, and we'll know to get your products and store them so that we have them for any emergency that may be coming our way.
It was such a pleasure, and it was such a great experience. And, thank you so much for all of your, perspective, too. And, like I said, we're getting in the cold and flu season, too, which, it's important. Even vitamin C, make sure all you guys are using a vitamin C, of some form. It's very important. I mean, we have a lot of doctors and clients that, haven't had a cold or a flu in, many, many years. So it's this time of the year is the most important.
It really is, and my opinion, and it's just my opinion, I think it beats taking the vaccine, and God knows what's in that. So you're much better off if you can take your health into your own hands. And your products, I certainly endorse them. They're tremendous, and I wish you good luck with all the things coming up for your company and all the wonderful plans that you have for so many different areas for the liposomal technology. So good luck with that, Greg, and I'm sure we're going to have you back on the show, so carve out a little bit of time for us in the next few months, and we'll hear about your progress and more about these miracle vitamins.
I can't thank you enough, Patricia. You and I will definitely be in touch. And thank you guys, everybody out there, for listening. And everybody stay well and have a great day. And thanks so much for the opportunity.
You're so welcome, Greg. And take care, everybody. Enjoy this beautiful day. We'll be back next week. We're going to be talking about organic wine. I can't wait. So enjoy the day and be safe out there.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another terrific episode of Power Preppers with Patricia Baker.